test and refining. We make sure that like all of our espressos are kind of dialed in and developed to the level they need to be developed in order to come out as a nice espresso. So, yeah.
So all of these are espresso machines, or?
No, this is the espresso machine. This is the grinder I've got set, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. And this is just like my pour over, which kind of is somewhat getting replaced by the new coffee pot because that's the Aiden. So the Aiden actually I was able to program it to reproduce the pour over taste test that I do. And so it actually like kicks Keurigs to the curb, it replaces your batch brewer, it does like a pour over kind of on the fly, and you can program it to do it exactly the way you want it. So for someone like me who's crazy about it and very meticulous and I'm trying to reproduce the same thing over and over so I can compare and contrast the roasts and stuff that we do. So anyway, we can talk a little bit more about that later because it's dope. I want to tell the story about how people are like, I don't have enough time to make coffee, so I have to have a Keurig, which is unfortunately probably the worst brewing method that you can do. So it's going to either overbrew generally or underbrew in terms of extraction of your coffee. And
is there not a Keurig that is superior or no?
Well, I'm not talking about a Keurig brand. Let's try to take brands out of the equation, but we're talking about K-Cups.
Yeah.
And it's just like that method, while it can produce okay coffee, if you really care about your coffee, specialty grade coffee, then you're going to want to get the most out of that and get the proper extraction out of it. And so this thing you can dial in. I did a test the other day where I just set it up for 1 cup because you can take this puppy out of here, put a nice little coffee cup underneath, do a 1 cup brew, and it's, it takes like 3.5 minutes. You don't have to warm it. I mean, it's like not pre-warmed up or anything like that. Like 3 minutes, you grind and put it in there, and it's dope. So,
You're a true coffee snob and fanatic.
Snob would be the right word. And we make coffee for coffee enthusiasts. So,
you're heavy on the artesian side of it.
Yeah. Everything. I mean, it's like
trust
all the things we look at, man. It's like it's the craft. And so, have you ever done Enneagram or anything like that?
No.
Yeah, what is that?
Enneagram?
No.
I mean,
what is
it's
that?
kind of like a personality test type of deal.
Like a Colby test.
Yeah. How old are you?
38?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I celebrate my birthday, so I tell people I'm born in 88.
I celebrate birthdays for a month.
I mean, that's the common theme.
It's a theme, guys. It's my birthday week, it's my birthday month, it's my birthday every day when I wake up.
So I think a lot of, I'm 45, you're 38. I think a lot of people in my generation have latched onto this Enneagram thing because it's pretty dialed in terms of answering questions and telling you kind of like how you're specifically wired. Not to prescribe who you are, but to better understand yourself. And so I'm a 7, which puts me on the scale of what they would call an enthusiast. And so I see enthusiast pop up in everything I do. When I get involved in something,
Well, you just don't do things happiness.
No.
It's same thing here. It's like, hey, if I'm gonna go in and help or support, that's why I have to be very decisive about there's nothing special about us, and I can't do anything for you. But if there's something special, be it the person is almost fanatical, you go, okay, this can scale.
Fanatical for sure. Yeah. I mean, that kind of makes it sound like a bad thing, but
we're building a brand called Pet Fanatics. So one of the brands we're working on is that, and trust me. If you do what I do every day with these dogs, you got to be a fanatic.
Right.
Because if you're not, it doesn't work, especially for 5 or 6 years.
You've been doing that for 5 or 6 years?
But realistically for almost 20. I did my first breeding at 11 years old.
Okay.
So now it's branding's my obsession. So
right.
If there's something there, I can figure that out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the story too. And so, I've been kind of tracking with you and trying to figure out what is it that this dude is doing.
Everyone that comes there to the blender when I'm sitting in front row with Tim, they go, so what's going on here? I'm like, dude, what are you asking? How does this work? What do you intend? I'm like, dude, he's got a brand. I'm gonna build a brand. I like his brand. I said I can help your brand. Let's scale the brand.
Right. Exactly.
Now the brand is branding per se. So coffee. I said, man, you know what? I don't know anything about coffee. Literally nothing. So I go, what an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, you're in the right place. I'll, turn the music down a little bit.
100%, man. So look, walk me through what you need help with specifically on the brand and stuff, and how it could be of value.
Well, so just, I guess like on the real, first and foremost, it's like I know that to like get the word out with people, you've got to leverage just, like storytelling. Like we have so many stories to tell. But right now, I'm working alone a lot. Like I've got a partner, Rob. He's amazing, and like our families are heavily involved in this operation. We've been going for like 3 years. I was doing a consulting project with another coffee company for the last little over a year, like overseeing leadership teams of some coffee shops, and seeing the backside of all of that has been really cool. It was a huge learning experience from a guy who's like 15 years ahead of me, which has been just amazing. But like that opportunity has dried up, and I am leaning into this like full time. So right now it's mostly me, like, working on things solo, and then we get together and do packaging and some other things like with the big orders that come through. So it just kind of sucks because it's hard to be telling the story when you're just on your own, right? And then I know like people want to hear the story and see people and see conversations and all of these things. But like I also wrestle with the idea that like I don't want I don't want just product pics out there all the time because there's so much of a story to tell. But I don't want my face out there like it doesn't have to be about me, but I am the brand ambassador, and so
the hardest thing you'll do, and I
help me reconcile that because it feels like me, like put myself out there, and like I know like I see you out there over and over, and I don't get sick of it, but like,
Well, it's like this. Nike does Nike every day.
Yeah.
Folgers week. Best part of waking up. I grew up with those commercials. Yeah. You saw it every day.
Right. You and I remember the jingle.
Yeah. Even when you look at the O'Reilly, you go, yeah. It's never going to get out of your head. You go, how important is this to you? Yeah. I'd look for me on the internet. I like more behind the scenes stuff, believe it or not. Yeah. I realize there's no way for me to like hire somebody to do what I know to do. Right, exactly. Like nobody's going to know more about your business than you, or obsess about it, right? Right. And then if someone says something wrong, now you like, oh. Yeah, I know. And is that it's okay. Am I a control freak? Or? Well, this is the thing. So you can be wrong. You can be like, I can survive that, but nobody else can. Right. So even when Tim, he says, we get into the 5th video. Trevor's asked me to do something, and I'm like, I make a mistake, and the internet goes crazy on the video. It's got 5 million views, but we gained 40,000 followers, whatever the case may be. He said, but if you get caught up in the comments or this perfect idea of articulating yourself, you failed the business and the brand, but you just move on. So nobody remembers, I tell people what they liked at 9 o'clock yesterday. Right. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It is a literal feed, and you're feeding it constantly. Yeah. And people who love you or love what you do or love coffee, dude, they'll show up every morning. Right. If you just, good morning. Right. Today's cup is brought to you by such and such. Let's find a method. Clearly, you probably have a message. And then the story, and the brand's never about you, but it's always about you. People buy Apple because of Steve Jobs. It's just that simple. Yeah. Nobody buys Microsoft because of Bill Gates. They missed the boat. Like Microsoft, think about it. Right. Everybody changed their logo when Steve Jobs is. You're right. And I think about Apple, I think personality. When I think about Microsoft, I don't. Yeah. It has no life force to it. There's nothing about it that makes you want to. Yeah. I got to get Microsoft. No, it's a little tacky. I mean, it feels tacky. It's cheap. Yeah. That's the thing. It feels cheap and tacky. So when you walking me through the excitement, you you got to do it. Man. There's nothing cheap or tacky here. It's like it's our mission. I mean, to help people like appreciate the good stuff because the stuff that shows up like on the shelves at the grocery store, like they're starting to find some craft brands and bring them in intentionally because they're recognizing, people actually like care about this, but like a majority of the stuff on the shelves is going to be commodity coffee, which that means that it's a lower grade coffee and they're over roasting in order to cover up defects, right? Like all of our stuff is specialty grade coffee, so like we don't have to over roast to cover up defects. Now the general public has been conditioned to drink
over roasted coffee that's covering up defects, which is why we now default to putting cream and sugar in everything. And people are like, I can't have my coffee without my creamer. And so, I made that shift years ago where we were, we were actually on a diet. It was called the back fat diet. And it was like, all you could have was like, it's a hilarious thing. But it was because of the discipline on this, like you could only have like black coffee and like one other thing in the morning and this and that. And so like we started drinking black coffee. This was years and years ago.
It's like coffee neat or something.
Yeah, exactly. Coffee neat. Exactly. And so most people aren't accustomed to that. I love that, parallel because people get so used to drinking an old fashioned with the sugar and all the things in it, and they don't know what the whiskey tastes like or how to differentiate between, and I'm still learning in that,
I'm the same way, but because I know now and understand nosing and that stuff, and even me, I can't. I'm lactose, so I can't go on creamer. So I get Americanos or just straight this because I'm like, I'd just rather drink this coffee the way it is because I also know the impact and effect of it. Yeah. So it mobilizes fat reserves. If you do get into the caffeine, it's not bad to have a shot of espresso before the gym and even after the gym too. Yeah. It'll help boost your metabolism to a degree, and of course it acts like a diuretic, which encourage you to drink more water.
Those are all good stuff.
Look, I know, man. Yeah. I know the science behind it. I just don't know how to break it down or understand it yet.
So we cut out the creamer for that diet and started actually tasting the coffee. It was like, oh, I actually like coffee. It took a minute to acclimate. Like when I train baristas, like I always make them drink a little taste of the espresso. I'm like, do you even know what espresso tastes like? How are you going to know if the shots are pulling right, if the extraction's right, not just based on timing, if you don't know what it actually tastes like? And so they're always like, okay, I'll try it. And they're, ooh, like at first what you get is just that hit of, I don't know what I'm tasting. It tastes bitter, it tastes sour, it tastes this, it tastes that. Because you have to get used to the like baseline taste of what, highly extracted coffee concentrate tastes like when it's pushed through a pressurized system. And then, but that's the basis of what everything that they're making drinks wise, coffee based drinks in a cafe, and so but it takes time to acclimate to that. But with black coffee, I mean, ultimately just like a black drip coffee, like you can roast it and you can brew it to perfection where you're bringing out the natural inherent sweetness of that coffee. And so and then you need to be looking for that. And so, like, if it's overbrewed, it's going to give you this bitter taste, which makes you go, like, it's a this, it's a that. Same thing with espresso. If it's underbrewed, like you brewed it too fast, and maybe it was roasted light and it was brewed really fast, it's going to be sour. You're going to pucker up. But there's this sweet spot in between. And so, when you're roasting coffee, you've got to roast, in a sense, like, think about the brewing method that this is going to be used for. So you've got to take your espresso roasts a little bit further. That's really what makes an espresso roast an espresso roast. It's not a type of coffee bean or anything like that. An espresso bean just means it was roasted to be used for that brewing method. So it's taken a little bit further in development so that it's not as sour because you're extracting it so fast under pressure that it's going to be sour if the extraction doesn't pull quicker. So there's all these different things for people to think about, but like that's where I geek out. But we also don't have to overcomplicate it for people. Like
I could see you doing an event and calling it roasted.
Roasted.
Yeah. And it's like a play on roast, but you get up there and you walk people through everything you know and pour them a couple different styles of espressos. And get them kind of going, man. Right. Be interesting.
So, like I'm curious on just how we can get, the word out, get access to a lot more people that are enthusiastic about coffee. We want to create coffee enthusiasts because we have a lot of people who are acclimated to the grocery store shelf type of stuff. And like they say they love coffee, but they haven't even really experienced coffee. And like specialty grade coffee especially. And so like, getting that word out there with consistency and, obviously, while balancing like this, we got to tell people about, when products are launched, but we need to be telling stories and we need to be capturing.
Well, that's the beauty about it. You say less and it gives people more of an anxiousness.
Right.
Think about the line on a Tuesday at the blendery now where there's 40 people
Right.
showing up to get bottles,
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Exactly.
In Oak Point, Texas.
Yeah,
And
in
it's-
Oak Point.
It's out there,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's out there, but it is through consistency. That's kind of,
Yeah.
almost my sales pitch. I say, you got something that you're gonna pour your soul into.
Yeah.
Marketing's the blood flow, it's the heartbeat.
Absolutely. It's
It's
like,
the
it's like do it a service because it deserves it. And what we're doing here, like there's so many elements of the story and the details that I think people will latch on to. We just need to take the time to be able to tell the story. And, it's like, and that can be challenging when you're in the midst of doing the thing.
Well, that's why I narrate a lot of people's pages, so that's why I never talk about dogs on the whiskey page. And so before I did my dog thing, I used to help all kinds of businesses bring their stories to life.
Yeah.
I mean, at some companies, I was the first person who walked in with their first client ever.
Yeah.
And now they're doing, $10 million?
Mm-hmm.
And they still call, hey, Trev, somebody wants to buy my business. And it's just not that. I could go down the line. And so when I quit everybody, it's because I can do this myself. And I understand business as well.
Right.
The narration and while you're like doing your thing is what will make the flow easy.
Yeah.
And then basically you can turn me or anybody that we meet into an enthusiast.
Yeah.
You basically converted a long-term life supporter of your brand.
Yeah.
And then even partner with other brands too would be
Yeah.
interesting.
And I love collaborations. I mean, like
necessary.
We're like, it's just in the heart of what we do. Like the reason that I came out of full-time ministry in order to go into full-time coffee, but primarily because I wanted to get outside the walls of the building and engage and connect with people, and not to take, like, so to speak, like a Christian business out, but like to just do excellent work to create excellent products that people love as someone who loves the Lord, who wants to have an impact on people. And so like, we're not a Christian company, like we are Christian people who are operating with a high level of excellence. Like our God is a God of abundance, and like we want people to experience next level experience, not mediocre, like fight mediocrity. And that's why I dog a little bit on the K-cup scenario, because it's just like mediocrity at its best. Like I don't have time for a real cup of coffee, but I love coffee. Like, no, like let's take an extra minute and do this thing right and actually enjoy and appreciate that.
Hey, look, though, I think you have to have some, an opposition. You have to oppose something to like get motivated by it to a degree at times.
Yeah, and and not to dog on a brand specific. What I'm talking about is opposing a brewing method. There are different forms of brewing, and they all bring about a different result. And generally, like the K-cup brewing method with the machines that are designed to brew them, like my wife.
What is this thing?
Espresso's warming up over here. It's just the pump. So, my wife, I was just talking to her. She's in a hotel room in downtown Dallas, and she's like, she's spoiled, obviously, but she's like, this coffee machine's like doesn't even work, and just like the experience that she's having with this little pod, and like having tasted the richness of coffee, and now just doing this like microwavable experience really quick. It's
borderline disgusting.
Yeah, and it's a high quality hotel too, so like come on. So yeah, like a lot of times, like because this is right here at home, like this is a laboratory in a sense. Like I've got I've got all sorts of fun tools. Like we test the TDS, which is like how much dissolvable solids you're able to pull out in extraction. So when I create an espresso, a roast for espresso, like you actually drip some drops on there and you test like how much of the dissolvable solids you're getting out of it, because there's a specific number that you're trying to hit. I test all of my roasts and taste the roasts as well. Yeah. We do some color tests on pretty much everything, so we can reproduce the same results, and then be able to recognize when it's hitting hard visually when I'm roasting out there. When it's hitting hard, I want to know what that looks like, as well as what it tastes like. And so, I can show you the roasting operation out there.
I'm just thinking brand message, and then what made you name it Virtuous Cycle?
Hey, so Virtuous Cycle. So a little bit of the story is like my buddy Rob and I were actually like into a lot of different craft, but it was the craft brew scene back then, right? It was like hitting so hard. I was also into craft coffee, and I had started like doing a little bit of like tiny roasting on my own, like out on the patio, just kind of like experimental. This was years ago. And but at the same time, we were brewing our own beer, and so we ended up coming up with this imperial coffee stout. And so what we did was, this is like all the levels of the craft, dude. So what we did was we roasted a coffee from Hawaii, and it was amazing. And then we got cocoa beans and roasted those, shelled those. We created a cold brew concentrate from the combination of the cocoa and the coffee. And when we were brewing our imperial stout, we put that cold brew concentrate, which took out the bitterness of hot brewing coffee, into the imperial stout at the end of the brew. We canned that up and we started sharing it with friends. Like, I'll give you a can before you leave. We did one, semi-recently. And it just blew people out of the water because of all the craft elements that were in there. Then we actually ended up getting barrel-aged cherry syrup from the blendery and doing that as a variant in those. But ultimately what was happening was we were taking these drinks, whether it be the coffee that I was roasting or this beer that we were brewing at different times of the day, and we were recognizing the energy that it was creating when we take the good stuff and we put it in the center of the table and we find community and we start encouraging each other around those beverages and being inspired at taking the craft to the next level and the craftsmanship and the heart that went into those products, and we get to talk about them and be enthusiastic about them and excited. And so we just kept talking about how like it's this virtuous cycle of the different beverages that we enjoy at different times of the day that are forging connections and community with others, where like we were talking about the other day, like iron sharpens iron. We're encouraging each other. We're getting hype about this, but we're hyping each other up and encouraging each other to kind of press on and make the most of every opportunity that we have. And so we call it a virtuous cycle. Have you ever heard the term virtuous cycle?
Not, but I know what virtues are. Seven
virtues. Virtues and virtuous. It's interesting because I thought it was a very common phrase when I came up with it, and so now I find I'm having to explain it to a lot of people.
Well, look, the more you can talk about something you're doing, the easier it is to scale. Yeah. Imagine walking to a business, they're like, "Oh man, I just those spoons over there. They don't burn on the stove or something. They don't burn in pots." You're like, "Oh, that's the story. Well, where's the wood come from?" "Oh man, I don't know." Right. I don't know. Yeah, well, why does it look like? I don't know, man. Why is it staying that way? Oh man, I couldn't tell you.
But you may have heard the term vicious cycle, right? Of course. That's like the downward spiral. Like cycle, one bad decision turns into another.
Maslow's law. Not Maslow's. What is
Maslow's theory?
Yeah. The things happen in threes type stuff.
Boom. And so the virtuous cycle is like the opposite. It's like one good thing builds on another, builds on another, builds on another.
That's and even better than the virtuous cycle. The sad part is we've all heard about that vicious cycle.
Right.
So that's interesting.
The virtuous cycle is a thing, but I'm here to tell you.
Already.
So,
jeez, man. Oh, well, look, I would do like this, man. Let's walk me through and make a couple things that we can try, and we'll shoot some phone versions of it. We'll shoot the phone versions of it. And then we'll talk about, what we can do to assist, because it's real simple, man. Yeah. I mean, if you have a business, which it sounds like you have a business, you have a strategy and a plan. Yeah. Everything now is about marketing and getting your name out there.
So I've got the roastery out there. Do you want to see that
now? Let's see it. The more we see, the better, man. It's a nice home.